Welcome to the Working Women's Channel. My name is Clara Capano, and we're going to share the real secrets to success. Come on in. Maria, it is so great to have you. Thank you so much for coming in and being a guest on the show.
My pleasure. It's been a lot of years we've had a journey.
It has. I know. You know, you're like my sister in so many ways. We've had so much fun together and many offline conversations and have just watched each other grow over the years. It's always fun to be able to share time with you.
Well, I'm honored. I have watched you grow, and it's been fun to watch you hit every goal you wanted to succeed. So It's fun to be here. Thank you.
You bet. So, we're here to talk about the real side to success and really focusing on it from a women's perspective. So, being that we are women in business, we also know that the road to success isn't always pretty and isn't always easy. Can you think about a time in your career where you had to show some resilience, maybe overcome some obstacles and challenges to get to where you are?
I can think of several times. When you talk about success, I think that should mean something different to every woman. Mm-hmm. Some women think success is being a stay-at-home mom, happily married. Some women think it's making $1 million in GCI. I just think it's important for people to know that individual success is what makes you happy. When you look in the mirror and you are satisfied and fulfilled, that's definitely success.
It is. And I always try to impart that same thing, like for me, and it's changed over my world. When I was young, it was all about money. I was in my 20s, didn't have a kid. It was, I want to make money. As it's grown over the years, it's more about legacy. It's more about contribution. And one of the things I try to do at the end of the day is to always ask myself, did I show love today? Did I inspire today? And did I contribute positively? And if I did, it was a successful day. The money will follow. So I love that you acknowledge that as well.
As far as resilience, I think everybody fails forward, okay? You've heard that old saying. Resilience is something we all will or have to face. In my personal career, I've faced it many times. There was a time when I reached a certain level of success and I started experiencing anxiety because there was part of me that thought maybe I wasn't worthy of this, but or I would go to the worst case scenario. There would be something wrong and I would go to the worst case scenario, and I still deal with this some days in certain transactions. But I think resilience is the key to life. We all have to face resilience. Mm-hmm. And that is looking different to all of us at a different day, just like success looks different to us on a different day. The key is to get up and keep going. Yeah. Get up, move forward, put your head up, hold your shoulders back, and just move forward.
So with resilience, can you think of a specific time in either your life or your career where you actually had to rely on resilience to allow you to go forward and adapt?
I think resilience is something we need to keep in our toolbox at all times. During the recession, I actually worked in bank owned, and I walked into a guy who had all the listings, and I walked into his office and knocked on his door and I said, "You need to hire me." I was lucky because he did, but I had to shift then when the market got better from a non-bank owned market to a luxury market, and my mind shift had to completely change. Looking back at the last year with COVID-19, I think a lot of things had to take place in terms of mindset, change, resilience, and wisdom. And wisdom is just moving forward, saying, what can I do now to make tomorrow a better place? So quick example, it's not a huge ordeal, but every year I host a pie party and I give away all these pies to my clients, and we have a special drink and we go to the club. Well, this year the club wouldn't allow us to have a party. So I still wanted my clients to have these pies, and I had already had them on order, almost 300 of them, by the way, and I didn't want to get stuck with them.
Did you make all those pies, Maria?
Absolutely not. But I did a drive-by pie party where we made it very safe. We all had masks, we had gloves, we asked our clients if they didn't feel well to stay home. We didn't really have contact, and we used wipes because the pies were in a container. So I just think we have to adapt. Resilience is being able to evolve to the new way of life and getting up and saying, I have what it takes to do this.
And I think that's a big part of success, are the ones that say, okay, how are we going to face this? and decide to go forward. And sometimes that means reinventing ourselves and along the way, but I love that. Now, I also know a big part of growth and success is also learning to let go, meaning that sometimes we have to come to the idea that the way that we ran our businesses before has to change. Maybe we have to start delegating things out, because if we want to be able to grow and serve at a greater level, we sometimes have to stop doing all the same things. It's the idea that just because we can do something doesn't mean we should do something. How have you faced that? Because I know that was something maybe about 3 or 4 years ago you were really faced with, to go to that next level, and you decided to bring on an assistant. So tell me a little bit about the power of delegation.
The process of delegation comes very easy for me, perhaps because I'm the oldest child. I just believe that you can have it all, but if you want to really live in harmony, right? I think you have to decide what is most important to you. So delegating your laundry and things like being the PTA and making all the cookies and being the hockey mom on every single trip, it's a really tough task to take that on and still be the number one producer consistently in your office, market, whatever it may be. In our case, it's real estate, right? So I think overall, the process of delegation becomes an art, and there's nothing to feel bad about. I'm here to give you permission. It's okay to delegate. In fact, it's healthy.
I agree. Yeah, and I think that so many women, they don't. They think just the opposite. They feel shame or guilt, or I should be able to handle all this myself. And I think, again, remembering that when you delegate that off, that gives you space to then do the other things that are important.
Right.
And then it allows somebody else to shine, because doing those things that we're delegating is important to them. So again, it brings us all together. So yeah,
I agree.
In
a cohesive, collaborative environment, which when we study the word collaboration and everybody gets to be part of something big, you build synergy, right? So asking somebody to do something for you, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if they're good at it. Right. My assistant is so much better at things than I ever could be. She's a lot more patient.
Oh, what is this patience thing that you speak of? I've never heard this before. Sounds intriguing.
Right?
Another thing I really want to talk about with you is you have 2 boys that are now teenagers, and you're an excellent mom. I mean, we talk about someone that is very good at their job, their career, at a very high level. You might say doing the PTA, making all the cookies, but honestly, you are really there, and you're very hands-on with your boys who play competitive sports. So tell me a little bit about how you bring the harmony into your personal life with being a mom.
Well, being a mom is the number one task. That is the most important job I play in my life. That is the most important role I play. I love my boys. Anybody who knows me knows the weight of my heart is through those boys. I will tell you that when I started, and they were little when I started my company. They were really little, but I made sure twice a week we went for ice cream. And I said, if you're good, you get sprinkles. If you're not good, no sprinkles. So now when they win a game, I'm like, I don't think you get sprinkles after that game. Or if they had 3 goals, they get sprinkles. But that ice cream time wasn't so much about the ice cream or the sprinkles. It was sitting down, letting them know what every child, what every human, every mother, every father, every partner, every employee, employer wants to know. Do you hear me? Do you see me? And do I matter? And now they're teenagers and they tell me stuff. I'm like, oh gosh, I could have been fine not knowing.
I know.
I'm like, oh, that happened at the party? Cool, what'd you do? So now they tell me so much, which I'm grateful for, but it started at such a young age. You have to make time for what is most important to you. And for me, it was always my children. My children, as much as I loved traveling and speaking and being a top producer and selling real estate, there are many times where I have referred deals, declined speaking engagements, because being there at my kids' Carnation Bowl or golf tournament or hockey game was always more important than anything else.
Yeah, so that goes back to some of the trade-offs that we have to make for right now is, yeah, I can't go on that speaking engagement because I want to be over here and this is more important to me. It wasn't that it was better or worse. It was, this is where my priority is. So I think getting clear on your priorities will help you with those trade-offs.
Well, that's very well said. But here's the truth. The truth is, I also haven't dated much. The truth is, I probably am criticized by some a little even myself, that I haven't put myself out there and dated, because being a mom, listen, I'm Italian. The most important thing for a little boy in the Italian culture is to make sure his mom is right there looking back at him. Quite honestly, in any culture, most likely. But I think that I had to decide what was the most important thing for me. And I knew that I only had a certain amount of time with these kids. And let me tell you, these years have flown by. In 2 years, I'm gonna have an 18-year-old. They'll both go to college, and I can do whatever I want. But I don't regret it. Are there times where it's not peachy and I get lonely and I get sad and there's part of my life that I feel a void in? But I have to tell you, I don't regret it, because I knew listening to my intuition was always the right thing, and that was always putting my boys first. Always.
And I think that's one of the things I've always really admired about you, is you honor yourself. You know, you are fine with others not agreeing with you. You are fine with, but you don't have judgment. You're like, if you want to do that in your life, that's fine. I still honor you. I still love you. It's fine. But this is what I need to do. And you don't make excuses for it. You're like, this is just what I'm doing. And I think that's really powerful. And I think more of us need to feel that level of confidence and say, you know what, this is what's right for me. Doesn't matter if anybody agrees or disagrees. This is what I have to do.
Absolutely, because when we go to bed at night, the one person we have to really be comfortable with is ourselves. When we get up in the morning, we have to look in the mirror knowing that we are the most satisfied with the decisions that we've made.
Right.
And so I think just looking in the mirror and embracing yourself, and listen, it's taken me years to really honor, you know, depending on how you define that, honor myself in terms of my actions, you know, in every aspect of my life. But I really do believe, Clara, that it's okay for women to know you're on your journey, embrace it. Whatever you go through is going to happen. It's probably going to help to make you better. And then just move forward. Move forward in terms of what is. So many times we compete with other women.
Oh, yes.
Okay? Or we look at them and we say, wow, she's so skinny.
It's the comparison game. We have comparisonitis.
Yeah, very good. She's so skinny. She's more successful. You know what? My only competition is the gal I see in the mirror. That's it. And my job is just to become a better version of me.
Yeah, it's so true. So I want to take it back a little bit to sort of the real life, because we know that your boys are the most important. We know it's non-negotiable. You're going to be there with them. So many times, though, as we're running our business, the challenges that we have is, well, if I'm over here, maybe I'll lose a client. Maybe I'll lose a deal. And you mentioned how you've gotten okay with that. You've either referred it out. But, you know, how do you set your boundaries? Because I think that's it. Is one, you have to know for you what your non-negotiables are, but then you also have to communicate them to others, your clients, your family, your, you know, team members, so that you can maintain that. How do you set your boundaries so that everybody is working in unison to make sure that those boundaries are kept?
Well, nothing is perfect. And there are clients that I have lost, and there are listings that I have lost, and there are days where I probably should have made a different decision. And quite honestly, there are hockey games that I've missed and football games that I've missed. However, I just have to move forward. And every experience teaches us something. And so moving forward in the boundaries that we decide to make, it's just in what is the most important thing to me right now. And will I be so upset tomorrow if I miss this football game versus if I took this client and made X amount of dollars? Sometimes making the X amount of dollars is what you got to take. That's the truth. There's no balance. There's no right answer. It's what works good for you. And for me, and listen, my boys, they've been on so many listing appointments with me. we drive by a house and they're like, this house has horrible curb appeal. I wonder if those popcorn ceilings have asbestos. Listen, it is what it is. We just have to move forward and embrace ourselves and not be so hard on ourselves. That voice we have inside that's like, you should have done better. You should have tried harder. You shouldn't have eaten the cheeseburger.
Oh, but cheeseburgers are so good.
I eat the damn cheeseburger. Now I'm like, don't show me, cameraman. But I think in life, there's just a balance. And you just have to move forward and become the best version of you.
Yeah.
That's our real job in life.
It is.
And are you making a good contribution?
Yeah.
You know, I have a quick story I want to share.
Please.
So I went from a bank-owned market, right? I worked with the #1 foreclosure guy in town, and I went from there to being one of the luxury brokers. Luxury was like $1 million homes. And I went to one of my first broker opens. And, I'm in a cute little TJ Maxx dress, and I thought it was cute. And the lady hosting the house had been a realtor for 30-some years. Good producer, well known. She says to me, because they had the event catered, "Miss, can you go and get more waters?" She thought that I worked there, okay? I could have done two things. First of all, part of me my ego was hurt. I was like, who does this lady think she is? But then I thought, you know what? Let's learn from this. And you know what I learned from that? When I walked through that door of that multi-million, it was like a $3.5 million listing, right? And this is 10 years ago. Houses didn't sell for $3.5 million 10 years ago. At least not in my part of town. And I thought, I gotta learn from this. I've gotta show up. And when I showed up with confidence, and if you break down the word confidence, it just means with faith. Con means with, fide means faith, okay? With faith. I had to have confidence in myself. When I walk in knowing that I have the confidence to take the listing, to cheer for my son at a hockey game, to sit here and talk with you, to know that I really made a difference and maybe helped you or helped someone else who may be listening to this and needs to hear it. I need to have the confidence knowing that my journey has brought me here up to this point. And it's okay that I failed. It's okay. If you don't fail, you're not big enough. Honestly, if you haven't failed, you're not doing enough. Really.
That's really well said. I love that. So that's so great. And what a great story, Now I'm making sure that I don't look, but it had everything to do with confidence. Yeah. And it's so true. It's because when you are confident in yourself, what you're doing it for the right reasons, nothing's going to stop you. So that's great.
Yeah.
So when you're looking back on everything you've done at this point in time, what would you say is something that you are most proud of?
My boys. Yeah, always. Yeah. I can't even talk about them because I get so emotional. My boys are definitely the #1. I really went from living in my mother's basement to being one of the top 1% brokers in Denver. I thank God for that. I feel like I'm so blessed. But I will tell you that I believe it was putting my clients' needs before my commission, before what I wanted. There are many times where I have said to clients, I don't know why you're selling this. Why don't you hold it as a rental? There are many times where I could have made a commission on things where I didn't. I just always tried to do the right thing. My #1 accomplishment is my boys, and then just learning to embrace me, my journey, and accept me, and know that I've hit these milestones and I've got hopefully a great future still ahead.
Yeah, I love that. So speaking of the future ahead, what's next for Maria? When you look, whether it's this year or into the future, what's next up for you?
The next phase of my life will be honoring me, enjoying me, embracing me, and being open to opportunities that maybe were always there and I didn't see.
Well, that's exciting. We'll have to wait and see what all those opportunities are.
Yeah, and a cheeseburger.
And a cheeseburger. Some fries on the side, too.
We're pasta girls.
Hey.
We do eat pasta. These cheeseburgers are fine, but a bowl of pasta helps.
Yeah, big bowl. Some ravioli would be great. Now I'm hungry. So as we're getting ready to close this out, any last words or messages that you want to impart on our viewers?
I would say it's okay.
I love that.
And everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And just focus on what you can control today. Don't look back. Don't look forward. Just focus on the actions that you can take today. And knowing that you have what it takes, you have the ability to manifest what you want in your life by the small actions you take every day, it's okay.
I love that. So now, as our viewers watch this, some of them might want to connect with you. So where can our viewers find you?
Probably on Facebook or Instagram.
Great.
So I'm on Instagram, I'm Denver_Realtor, and Maria Vitale on Facebook.
I love it. Fantastic. Well, Maria, again, thank you so much for spending time with me and for sharing your message and your words. You know, you are a really big inspiration to me. And I don't tell you enough how much you do impact me. But every time we're together, you always help me up my game. You help me be honest with myself. You don't let me hide in the shadows, which is something that, many of us can tend to do. You remind me the importance of my voice and how important it is to honor my word and what I am doing. And I just know that you are doing that for so many other people. So thank you for being my friend, my inspiration, and I just wish you all the success and all the love. Any other last thoughts?
So I would say it was about 12 to 14 years ago, you and I were sitting in a ninja class together. And you said to me, I want to be up there and I want to be teaching. Because I said, Claire, what are your numbers? How much do you want to sell? Because that's what I was focused on. And you said, no, I don't want to do that. I actually want to be up there teaching, leading, and inspiring. And so I just want to applaud you because you've done that. You saw yourself many years ago up there on the stage in front of the classroom, teaching, inspiring, motivating, and now you've done that. So congratulations to you.
So I remember that class, but I'm sure it was not 12 years ago because we aren't quite that old yet. But I remember that. And, and I want to also pay the compliment back to you because you had the vision of being more, of growing more and being a luxury agent. So just as much back to you. So I'm really proud of you as well.
Yay, and good things to come.
Yay, yes.
You know what the good news is? Our story isn't over yet.
Not at all.
And neither is anybody's listening. There's so many blank pages still to be written. So let's write them.
I love it. Thank you.